Evening, everyone. This is the Air Conservation Commission. It's Thursday, April 24th, 2025. Commissioners in attendance this evening. We have George Bacon as member, Jess Gugino, member clerk, Mark Phillips, vice chair, Heather Hampson, our conservation agent, myself, John Schmallenberger as chair. Jenna is not with us this evening, and we will miss her. Confirmation of agenda.
No change.
Motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Approval of the meeting minutes for April 10th, 2025. Everyone had an opportunity to look at the minutes? Any changes?
Just a question. Why is the font seems to be off, like in certain instances? Like was it by design?
Where?
Like, okay, so like public input, first bullet, or under like Ruth's comments.
Mm-hmm.
The font, at least on my iPad, it looks different. See? Smaller than this.
Looks normal on the printout. Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just my, okay, maybe it's just the iPad.
Okay.
Or whatever. Yeah, just looks odd. But
You know, these
outside
devices,
of that, nothing.
These devices have minds of their own.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for April 10th, 2025 as written?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Public input. If there's anyone seated that has a question or comment, now's the time.
Nope.
Okay, seeing none, then we will move on. The continued public hearing, notice of intent, no DEP file number yet. Aho Development, lot number 4, Pine Street, proposed two-family dwelling with associated utilities and stormwater management within the buffer zone. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Well,
Good. State your name, please, for the record.
Brandon Duchar with David E. Ross.
Thank you. All righty. What did we find out?
So we got the opinion from town council stating that since the buffer zone is a resource area, the commission is allowed to grant a waiver. It needs to be presented in writing.
Okay.
I've included it in packets this deed because it came in later, so I don't think it came in this afternoon. I have a copy of it. So we got a letter from Mr. Duchamp for the request for a waiver to the 50-foot do not disturb for the sewer connection. I also reached out, I didn't include the email in here, but I did reach out to DPW and Matt here, and the town engineer stated that that's their preferred way to go. They don't want to, if gravity is an option, it has to be a gravity-fed connection, and going to the sewer line that's closest to Grove Pond is the gravity way. Everything else would need to pump, and I don't know. Then they'd be getting a waiver from DPW. So for that one. So that's where we are as far as the 50-foot no disturb. A resident who wasn't able to attend the meeting tonight, did send comments to me that I forwarded to you guys earlier this week and to the engineer to review for their concerns living over on Shelley Lane.
And their concern?
Tree clearing level, they're concerned that the 50-foot offset is not accurate due to low level pond.
And you can scroll down
Amount of excessive tree clearing, stress on the infrastructure. They had quite a few comments.
The only one, not really that germane now, but where the 50-foot was determined from edge of the pond versus edge of BVW.
Well, into the pond and end of BVW, because it doesn't drop.
Yeah.
It's not like. So it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Regardless of the height of the water.
Right. Regardless of the height of the water, correct? Because it's not a like beach type.
Right.
It'd be similar to some of the houses over on Sandy Pond or Flanagan, where your yard is your yard, unless it flooded for some reason, that's it.
Can you get that back up?
Oh, sorry. No, 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 what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Let me do this, and then I'll do this again, and then maybe it'll work. There we go. No? Maybe not? I don't know. Oh, it's...
Thank you.
I'm trying to print out less.
Yes, not a bad thing. So have you
There we go.
drawn up a waiver or a request?
Just a letter, yep.
Yep, so, once we found out that information, I prepared a letter formally requesting the waiver. We understand that there's no DP file number, we're gonna have to continue tonight, but we figured we'd at least come in and just hear your thoughts on accepting that waiver request.
Right. Well, I'm a big fan of gravity as opposed to pumping. And it's very little, I think in the 50 foot. No touch, if I'm correct, is what, 3 feet or less?
About 3 feet, yeah.
Yep. What are your thoughts, George?
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
Mark?
Based on the current location, or are you, as we requested, or at least I requested?
At this point with, doing the waiver, we're just keeping the current location, yeah.
I prefer it to be as close as possible to the property line. With that potential that it will be less than 3 feet, it might be 2 feet or what, you know what I'm saying? So that's my only, but outside of that, yes, waiver's fine.
What about you, Jess?
Okay,
Okay.
particularly with the DPW comments, so
Yeah.
it's a waiver one way or another, so.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Heather?
I mean, Mike, overall, Mike, I understand that it's this, part of the DPW's connections, and a pump would probably be more work, could cause more chaos within that 100-foot buffer if anything were to happen to that pump in that house. So I understand that aspect of it. It's an existing sewer line. Would I prefer it be there, not be there? Yes. Can I move it? No.
Right.
I don't have the authority to do that. So as far as that, as long as the DPW is fine with that and the connection to it, it would be minimal temporary disturbance anyway. It wouldn't be a permanent, because that line would be connected and then would have lawn and everything back over it or whatever that would grow over. So it wouldn't be a permanent disturbance, because that pipe would just be underground, and then the ground above would just reseed or replant itself. So
This is just a connecting pipe to a sewer
existing
pipe
sewer
that's
line.
already there no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the existing line kind of runs, obviously below grade, but runs
Right.
through there. We just need to tap into that
Yeah.
line and make a connection. And then, as we referenced in the letter, obviously all the existing grades get restored to pre-existing. And then the only other thing is, maybe we could do some kind of demarcation along the 50 in that area, just to make sure that just goes back to a natural state as opposed
Yeah.
to like grass. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
we
kind of just
we
define it.
typically have a signage that we require to have along the 50-foot no disturb that states that it's a do not disturb area. So we'll have, I'm sure when we get to the approval part, that'll be part of the approval to have that signage put up.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't have it for the big screen today.
So you're proposing actually making the line a little bit longer, Mark, to get it?
Do you have the house further back?
Oh, I'm just saying, so instead of tying in here, John,
Yeah.
basically to just
Right.
shift this as much as possible to kind of stick it there, potentially you can see from here
Right.
against the red versus here, it might be literally like right on it. So that's all I'm just trying to get to.
You know what he's talking about?
Yep.
Is that a problem to do that?
No, and the only thing I would add is I know when we did the site walk, there was one more significant tree there, and I'd just say we probably propose to, in a location that would save that tree.
I would rather save the tree.
Sacrifice a foot. or
But where
two.
that is, I'll have to figure it out, but if we can get to the other side and save that 3 feet. There's plenty of pitch to get there, so it's not like it's an issue, like it's gotta be right at that exact location.
Right.
We were just doing kind of a straight shot down.
Right.
Well, if you can do it and save the tree, that'd be great. If you can't save the tree, then I don't know. I would
Or down the
must
sewer.
be in favor of that.
That you're tapping into with it.
Save the
I'm
tree.
assuming
Yeah,
at least
so-
Save the tree.
It's pretty deep. It's, the rim's at 223 and the invert's at 217, so 6 feet, 6, 7 feet, something like that probably.
And maybe ask if there are any other comments in the audience.
To
Are
tap
there-
it, it has to be dug with a backhoe. It's not like a directional.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking at that depth was it directional.
I know.
You got right under the
Mm-hmm.
whatever little bit of roots wouldn't be a problem, but yeah.
I think the pipe has to be inspected, doesn't it?
Yes.
The connection, yeah,
Sorry.
the connection would have to be inspected, so I think that's
Yeah,
the
no,
why we can't do the directional drilling.
Are there any abutters out there that would like to comment?
Just me, with all development.
Come on up.
My only concern about going too close to the, property line
And what's your
is,
name?
I'm just Kettle, is that I don't wanna disturb the neighbor's property. When you're digging, the hole gets a little deep, that I don't wanna get too close to where we're touching any of their dirt on their property. That's my only concern.
Is this the neighbor that wrote the letter?
Yes.
I would rather be friends with them than enemies.
Gotcha.
So that's why I would rather be down here, because I know I have plenty of room to dig it, than be up there. That's my only concern.
Okay, that's a good concern.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Otherwise, everything else is fine with me. That was my only thing.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you spell your last name?
Ketola.
O-L-A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion? So can we vote on this?
Mm-hmm.
You can vote on the waiver request.
On the waiver, right. Is there a motion to approve the waiver? At, what's the address?
Well, it's
Lot
lot 4
four.
Lot
Pine.
4, Pine Street. Waiver to be able to
Here, do you want me to
touch
give you-
into the 50-foot
do you want me to give
no
you the,
disturb. Hmm?
So, should have given this information before, but, so per section 3 of the regulations, the board is allowed to grant waivers. The waiver is to section 2, B2, which is the 50-foot, no disturb zone. I know, I should have given all this for the actual waiver request, like remembering how they do it for ZBA. It's right there.
Section 3 of the regulations.
Allows the
section
waivers,
2B.
yep, to
Yeah.
section 2B2, yep.
2B number 2?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 2B2.
All righty. Is there a motion to grant a waiver at Lot 4 Pine Street under section
2B.
2B2?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. You're looking at me like I didn't say that right. All righty.
As long as it's written properly in the minutes.
That's right. Correct what I say, Jess.
I always do.
You always do.
Until I write it, it's so
So we'll have to continue because we don't have a,
Correct. The applicant did submit to the planning board for the stormwater management permit. Due to town elections, the planning board is not meeting until the end of May to May 27th, I believe.
Yep.
okay.
So I don't know what we would do for our next meeting on this.
So probably nothing, right?
Yeah, because we would be looking at waiting to see if the planning board or DPW have any comments in regards to the stormwater system that is proposed on site.
And the
And
meeting.
is there land clearing site plan as well, or is it just the stormwater?
It's site plan approval, or site plan review and the
Yeah,
stormwater
So
permit.
they'll be doing site plan approval as well due to the amount of land clearing on site.
Okay. So what would be the date of that meeting?
So the planning board, I believe their meeting is gonna be May 27th is their next meeting. And that's due to town elections.
Mm-hmm.
When's our next meeting?
So our meetings would be on the 8th and 22nd, so when you're looking into June, that meeting is June 12th. That's immediately after that.
But you can draft the waiver. We just don't.
The waiver's done. The waiver will get put into the findings of the special conditions.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Anything else before we continue?
I'm sure by then we'll have DEP comments too.
Okay. Is there a motion to continue the public hearing, notice of intent, DEP file number to be determined, Aho Development, Lot 4, Pine Street, until our meeting on June 12th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.
It's weird to skip a whole month.
I know it is, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, the planning board doesn't meet because of town elections, and then we're on opposite weeks, so it throws it all off.
Yeah.
But we should definitely have, it should be pretty well ironed out for our end of it by that,
Yep.
by that meeting.
Okay.
And when it goes to the planning board, I will make sure I let them know that we're literally just waiting for them to open, open their hearing. And make sure that they have no changes or comments to the plan.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, yep.
Thanks.
Next item this evening is the continued discussion, 42 Park Street, project site changes and remediation. So I saw there was a new drawing with some angled parking slots. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Nice to see you all again.
Yes. So, Justin LeClaire, McCarty Engineering.
Ali Goldenak, owner of 42 Park Street.
Michael McDuff, MGM Properties.
I will say, I apologize for the hat. I had a little incision done yesterday, so just covering it up.
Okay. All right.
So-
It's okay. I wasn't,
Nope, just
honestly didn't even notice.
it's not kosher to wear a hat for a meeting, so I just wanted to point it out. That's all.
Okay.
So, I sent this over on the weekend to Heather. This is the angled parking concept. I know the commission went out on that beautiful snow day to the site walk. Sadly, I was stuck in Gardner in 6 inches of snow and crap. So,
You got 6 inches.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, Princeton got 9.
I had to take the snowblower out. I was glad I did not summarize it. Yeah. So,
I was hoping we got that amount so I could drain mine using it. Well,
so, I know a commission went, saw a site, saw the limit payment, all that. Ally did tell me that the commission was looking for a concept. I know at the last meeting we had discussed it, potentially doing angled parking. So I did put this together just to walk through it real quick. The top half is still the same.
If you want this, you can point
Oh.
at stuff.
Yeah, even better. Oh, there is a delay.
Yeah, there is a delay. It's yeah.
So, this still all stayed the same. You still have your landscape island here. The first option I did try to do was do entirely angled parking. Try and turn everything the way that these two here are shown. But the issue that we are running into is starting here next to the concrete pad and turning the parking, we were running into the light poles that's here. So that went out the window. So I'm still showing the 9x18 parking stalls here, as you saw on the other options. From there, same thing, maintain a little bit of a buffer between the edge of pavement, the light pole, and then the edge of pavement on the other side. And then here, I was able to turn the parking to the angled, as shown here, which then does eliminate, again, this hatch would be the pavement that would be removed, and the red line would be the new edge of pavement. So
You don't have to put in any new pavement?
we don't have, so between this option and option 1, we don't have to put in a new pavement. If you remember, option 1 was the 4 9x18 parking spaces. My only concern as part of this design with the angled spaces is you're forcing anyone that parks there to go out through the abutters property. So if you can imagine, you have a vehicle that comes down and pulls into this spot. When they back out, they're not going to be able to back out and come this way and then drive out here as you would with the perpendicular ones. You're directing them to back out this way, and then their only option is to go out and around the adjacent building to the curb cut at the corner.
Is that an issue with the neighbors?
Not necessarily. We did grant them easement at the time I closed, so there is an easement there, and we have like an unspoken that we can drive out that way because they do come in and out. Sometimes they'll drive through, sometimes I'll drive through. So it's unspoken. I don't foresee it being an issue since we've been doing it, but there's nothing in writing.
Yeah, it's just something to bring to the commission's attention that who knows, 30 years down the road, she no longer owns it, someone else owns the other piece, and someone gets mad, and then there's a potential issue. So it logistically works. You can still get out the other way. It does remove that pavement on the corner. Again, I just wanted to point out to the commission.
Okay, good to know.
What's the easement you granted them?
Basically to come in and out,
It-
and cross over on the
pass-
property passing.
A pass and repass.
Yeah.
So they can go through your property?
Yeah, and I would, not knowing how it's written up legally, I would assume that pass and repass would be for both sides. So to your question of is it a major issue? I don't believe so. But
not now.
definitely not
today.
now, not today. And we all know how people can be sometimes.
So if it became an issue in 30 years somehow, they could still revert to the option 1.
Correct.
Right. They could redesign to option 1.
I mean, in 30 years, the use of that building could change, where the
Right.
parking for the salon would be different than what
Yeah.
use is in there, so the parking spaces may differ.
Or someone buys both pieces of property and it really doesn't become an issue because they own the entire thing. So there's a lot of unknowns.
Right.
Again, it's just,
It's solvable.
yes, it's just, again, the parking spaces where just know that those people will have to exit through the adjacent property. So,
To make it easier.
yeah, because they're not going to be able to completely U-turn back around to come
Right.
out.
You'd have to do an Austin Power turn and go.
Yes.
Assuming all spots are in use.
Yes.
Heather, were you able to find out about the compact?
I did, yeah, that answer is a no.
Why?
It's when I got the answer I got from the town planner to go for a waiver for anything, but it wouldn't be feasible.
To turn some of the spots into compact?
Compact, yep.
Yeah, like those 2 spots that we're having a challenge with.
But I think that's putting a burden on
And it's basically passing our issue up to another board as
Yeah.
well. But that was the answer I got.
Yeah, and I did take a second read at it, and
Be working together.
That's why I asked the question. I didn't say, we're gonna make you do this, I asked the question, that's working together. It's like, is it possible, can we do this? If they came to you with a request, is that possible? And the answer was no.
Is that your take on it?
Okay.
yes,
I guess
the,
I'd like
the
to
way
explore
that
that
it
more.
is written in the
I don't know,
bylaws
I don't have the
is,
bylaw in front of me, I can't
it's
tell you.
only written as if you have 50 or more spaces. Anywhere in the town's code. The only spot that says compact spaces is if you have 50 or more, you're allowed to have a percentage down to that reduced size, which, side note, is a first for me. There's usually a lot of municipalities do give you a flexibility to have some because um, because it does promote LID, your low impact design features, to have smaller spaces because smaller spaces result in less pavement, which results in more green space. So it is a widely adopted idea. So I was surprised when I saw that was the only spot it was written in. And like Heather said, to get that waiver.
Yeah. And I know the parking regulations is one of the regulations, bylaws that needs to get looked at. It just hasn't been done at this point yet. Oh my God, I'm gonna throw this thing out the window. So it's, yeah, unfortunately, it's just how it is right now.
So the two angled spots are full 9x18?
Yeah, they meet, so they're technically, the stripe is longer than 9x18, because the way you measure it is perpendicular for your 9, and then out to 18, so it still fits a regular car. Yep,
And when they were straight in,
they were still 9x18. When you start turning the angle, the actual line, I forget the actual math, one of the towns gives it to you, but instead of being 9x18 this way, when you turn it, it's 9x20 something angle. Because if you imagine you're extending that line,
What your angle is too.
yeah. But your two angled spots are zoning compliant.
so my question was going to be, when they're straight,
Yep.
you're not meeting the 20 feet between the ones against the building and there, correct?
No, we are.
If I remember correctly?
Still are.
We still are. Both option 1 and this option give us the zoning compliant space and give us a 20-foot drive aisle.
Okay.
You want me to
So,
pull up the other option?
looking at the angle then, so at this line, if at this point, no touchscreens anymore, right?
No, you can touch it.
So this point here to this point here, you still have your 20 feet.
Correct.
Why are you so far in? Shouldn't this come back out such that this line is meeting with these lines?
No, because if you take a line, even though it's a 9x18 angled parking stall, you still need to maintain, the best way to explain this. So 9x18, everyone understands perpendicular parking, this is 18 long.
Yeah.
It's 18 deep, is
Mhm.
for your car.
Yep.
You still, when you park at an angle, you still need to maintain 18 feet deep, but you're stretching this line out because now it's at an angle,
Okay.
so it's skewed.
Okay.
So that line, point to point, is longer than 18 feet,
Yeah.
but you still need to maintain 18 feet of depth when you measure perpendicular. So the way you do it is you come out perpendicular 18 feet, and then in this case I started here and I twisted this 18 feet here and then twisted the angle. So this is technically longer than 18 feet, but if you go 18 feet at an angled line, you're actually less on the perpendicular.
No, I get that.
So
What I'm saying is, I guess I was looking at this point, but your point is here, so this is your 18.
yes, and then you twist
Okay.
that
where's the, if you had didn't you have a version of this that was where these are straight?
Do
Yes.
you want me to pull those ones up?
Yeah, if you want to pull up option 1, that shows the perpendicular.
I'm not gonna, I'm gonna go through all the emails that are on here. This one? Yeah, which one was option 1?
It should be I think it just said remediation on it. Yep,
This one?
yep.
Okay.
2 spot.
And we hit this button. And we make it big.
So, again, you're still maintaining that
Yeah.
depth. Okay.
Yeah, I thought this 2-spot version was the gray, the underlaid gray.
Okay.
So that's what was confusing me.
No,
This
no,
was like,
oh.
how did we not gain space by going in
Yep. No, you're
I gotcha.
angle. Even designing angle parking sucks.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know.
It's not fun.
Does it change anything doing one or the other?
If you have,
How much was the gray? Yeah, so what was,
it's
how much did we gain in gray hatch?
only a little bit.
It's essentially the same because you're
Yeah.
moving point A up and point B down.
Yeah, you're just.
So where you end up angling this, you're cutting this out,
But you're gonna eat it at the other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can see that one as opposed to this one. Yeah, it's, that's 4. So when we were looking at, and that's 4.
In simple terms, between option 1 and 4, you're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
On where you're gonna take out the pavement and where you're gonna keep pavement.
But the main difference is that you're forcing people to go on
The main difference is
someone else's property who may not always love you.
yes. So
I mean, it could be anything too. It could be in the middle of winter, they don't plow their parking lot, and then you're
Yeah.
forcing people. Like something as simple as that too.
or that might be where they put their snow.
Oh yeah.
that's probably a more practical. I would hope not to, but
That's where the
Yeah.
screen inlet is.
you can. Again, we all know how people are sometimes. So
Yeah.
it's, and I get it that the commission wanted to see it because it is much easier to see it on a plan and
Yeah.
be able to visualize what it looks like instead of sitting here talking about it and saying, yeah, it could save you some here, but
No.
yeah.
It's
I was really counting on the 2 compact spaces. I thought that was extremely
Oh,
reasonable, so.
And I completely agree. If it's compact, if we were allowed to do the compact spaces,
Because then you could do the parallel.
I would do
You
the
would gain all that.
yeah, I would do compact spaces for those 2 spots, and
Yeah, and
we'd be done.
Right.
So
And if it was when this project was first proposed, that may have been more of an able to be an option instead of going through and trying to fix something. Where it's more
Yeah.
or less like, yeah, we're
And-
not doing that.
and again, going back to the way the bylaw is written, is it doesn't give you the leeway to
The parking is.
go for that request on. Well, I want to do all these, but can we make these 2 compact? There's nothing there that gives it to you.
I mean,
It
the parking
real-
bylaw still allow, I mean, you have to have 2 cars, 2 spots per 2-bedroom unit.
Yeah. So with that, I know overall the commission was satisfied with one of the options that we were going to do for the remediation. What we would like, I know we're missing one commissioner tonight, that if we can get a final decision on option 1 or 2, 3, or 4, it doesn't matter, just so we can get the contractor going, because we are eating into the TCO window. I know, did you have a chance to talk to building?
No,
Yeah,
yeah, I was
okay.
away at work this week.
So it's a reasonable request to extend the window for the TCO, but we would like to be able to go to them and say, look, can we have an extension on the TCO? Conservation Commission wants us to go with option X, and then when could you realistically July.
No, I mean, we're holding back the wolves, knowing that we have to do this.
Yeah.
So, I'm kidding, Ally. Sorry.
I was gonna say.
Don't stress her out.
It's my life, man.
So,
No, I mean,
as soon as possible, he could get in there and start the work, so at least there's progress
Yeah.
going for you guys in that building. Ideally, would feel comfortable extend TCO knowing that the work is being started to remediate the issue. So, and again, if that's something that the commission wants to have all the members put their input in to decide one, if it's something that could be done offline and Heather can email myself and Ally and say, commission wants you to go with option X, fantastic. So, but we do appreciate that the commission is open to the options in front of them. And I know at this point it's, again, splitting hairs on what the commission would prefer. But at least, like I said, we do appreciate that you're open-minded to it.
I like to see.
What are your thoughts on the angled parking, Mark?
It wasn't as clear as I was hoping.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand what's going on here though now. So this was kind of a walk up, there's stairs and all kinds of stuff. So this is gonna be landscape and then whoever wants to go up this has to come through this parking spot? Is there actually space for that?
Yeah, there's 9x18 is your standard space. Your car's typically 7-8 feet, so there's a little bit of space. The landscaping wouldn't be anything robust, so it would be, and the landing's already there, so it's just getting to the land and then
Well,
up.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that being there.
Yeah,
It just seems, I don't know, just maybe that's a little concern and maybe you should bring this back a little bit, just to kind of create a little bit of a walkway maybe, I don't know. And then is this 9 feet
Yeah.
here?
Yes.
But it's much bigger back here. So where we can square that off and gain a little bit more,
Well,
that'd be great.
so the problem is you do it. I think we'd have to actually strike that out. The problem is you start doing that, you start skewing all. We're gonna run into the same thing, right? You try to maintain.
Yeah, it's just that first space in between the two islands, it's a lot wider.
Definitely a pie. It's not square, is all I'm getting.
Well, so it's back. So that's back perpendicular, because that's the other thing. You're gonna have these are parallel these are perpendicular spaces.
Yeah.
So it's from the point perpendicular back.
Yeah.
If you go, not, because the way that pavement is, it's not a straight line. So if you go 9 feet and 9 feet, it's going to be skewed. It's going to technically be less than 9 feet perpendicular point to point. So.
Do you mean 18 from point to point?
No, 9 feet width.
So you're saying from this red line to where this red
Yeah,
line
'cause
which will eventually be a curve is 9 feet.
Well, you're on a curve right there. If you picture this is your curve, right?
Okay.
So we start here.
Yeah.
We're here, back perpendicular. That's 9x18.
Yeah.
9x18.
Yeah.
9 feet here is out here. 9 feet back here is actually in tight. So you end up with a pinch point less than 9 feet. Because you're sitting on a
because you curve. Okay.
Yes.
So in order to get the opening at 9 feet, it curves out wider at the end
Yes.
because of the curve there.
Yes. Anytime you work with parking on a curve, you end up with reverse pie. You maintain
Right.
9 feet at the tightest point, and then you're a couple feet wider at the end because you're trying to hit a perpendicular spot to a perpendicular spot.
Okay.
So you're not running looking at the back of it to the edge of pavement and saying that looks a little bit wider than at the drive aisle, because it is, and that's why.
But you're still.
But now here though, we're gonna have that 2-to-1 slope.
Just bump that out.
No, because then at the midpoint you're going to be less than 9 feet. Or,
It just doesn't make sense on
Yeah.
flat paper, is what I'm saying.
yes,
That's the issue.
so,
Bring the point down.
or I come back perpendicular
That's the issue.
and I eat more pavement on that side
It doesn't make sense on flat paper.
to get back. Right? I can maintain from here perpendicular, offset 9, and now I'm eating a little bit of this. Trying to picture a curve on
Yeah, on
a
flat paper.
flat piece of paper.
It's a flat earth issue.
So that's the big
Okay.
thing, and I think at that point it's
And if it was that you were talking about a foot.
we're talking a couple feet at most. Where it's again, if it was a 10-foot difference, then yes, we would want to modify it, but it's only a couple feet at the back of the parking space.
In regards to this area that Mark was talking about, when we redo the landscaping on that,
We could do grass in front of
well,
it.
I would say doing grass. I would just, because everything's mulch, and I hate mulch. Do like
Landscaping
pavers,
stone?
like stepping stones through here,
Well, why don't we do?
and then that way we're not forcing people to walk around cars, and we just have pavers through here, and the rest of it landscaped. I think that would settle that issue.
As long as it can be
What?
snow plowed, maintained or whatever, but yeah.
What do you wanna do?
something like that.
Why don't we just do permeable pavers?
Yeah.
Yeah, like stepping
Yes.
stones, I don't.
Yeah, it's just
for-
something that something in that landscaped area that basically promotes you walking
Yeah.
path through it,
Yeah,
and that fixes that area.
Yeah.
That situation.
because if you do like pavers, I mean, we're going towards impervious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're trying to
But-
take away from it.
yeah.
But if we do something permanent.
But I'm just saying, like,
But yeah.
what's going to happen is if you don't put anything there, people are going to walk through it.
Well, they're
anyway.
gonna kill the
It's gonna be a
grass,
mess.
right?
Yeah.
It is.
So you're just better to make it like, no, here, walk here. Otherwise,
But
they're
he
just gonna
could-
walk
Good
anyway.
luck.
Yeah. And people are still gonna walk where they walk, but at least you'll have the designated path. But yeah, we could. Ideally, you would just come straight off of that.
I
And
was
time.
thinking, I went to UMass Amherst. I mean, I can't.
Yeah, I did
tell
too
you.
for a little while.
Oh, nice. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars putting in beautiful walkways, and what do people do? Walk across grass.
Oh yeah. Well, when you go by the pond, those ducks are vicious.
So yes, we could definitely, as part of the landscaping of that island, we could
I would.
grass, shrubs. We can do some, like you said, permeable pavers,
Pavers, yeah, I would
around
just-
that landing.
Yeah,
to,
I would just do that suggestion
Yeah.
on that one, because that would help that situation. Because I think otherwise you're gonna get people who don't want to park in that space because of that walkway, or two people that are walking there and will complain about something. So to have that designated walk, or they'll cut through the landscaped area.
Which would be kind of dangerous in the wintertime too, if it's snowed and you don't want to be walking through an already smaller parking area in the snow.
Right. So the back of those two spots, there will be a curb along the back side of,
Yes, this whole thing will be curbed. Yep.
and so then where will those drain? Do they go around to that D way up at the top there?
Everything drains to here.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, everything's gonna, as part of this, this will have to get shimmed and pitched a little bit, but everything's gonna get back to these two catch basins. And then it'll go into the underground system. Yep.
And that was the original plan. Everything.
And that was the original plan anyway, everything was to be curved and conveyed back to those structures.
I guess at the moment I'm most comfortable with this. I don't know about the rest of you. But these two spots this way.
Option
Yeah.
1 as opposed to the angle.
Yeah, because the angle,
Doesn't do much.
at least I'm looking out for planning, not so much the other way around. I guess then the next thing would be all the stones that were placed so
Yes.
gingerly.
Yep, so I think at the last meeting we had you're talking up at the top of the page?
No, I'm talking the stuff.
Oh, yep, sorry.
Spots, yeah.
Yep, those ones.
Yeah.
Again, those aren't, so at the last meeting we had talked about those those aren't set in the ground, so if the commission wants those to find a new home, they'll find a new home.
I'll make them look good.
Or if they want them to look good, they can look good.
Yeah, if you just wanted to like take them out from the, outside of the buffer area, and you can throw them towards the front if you want, I mean, cause yeah,
We could
they're
use
kinda
them,
cool,
honestly.
use them
You could
somewhere
use
doing
them from the
something.
front.
There you go.
No, I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
that would, don't take them off the site, and if you do, I'm stealing them, but I would say, no, seriously, we need as many as we can get, but if you, I would just pull them and bring them up to the front, cause like you said, where we had to change and bring the parking lot out anyways, I mean, it's gonna help that grade change.
So where are they being moved to?
Outside the buffer.
Yeah.
This area here?
Yep.
Buffer and into here.
I was really delayed.
Yeah,
But
into
yeah, where
this
we had the
area.
bump out for the pavement,
Yeah.
he could line them there.
Did you want us to take a look at the other options just to see them again, or? I know the third option's the one that added more pavement, which I don't
So
think any of
option, just to reiterate to the 2 and 3 added pavement. Option 2 was the 2 perpendicular spaces, 2 parallel spaces. We were asking for about 35 square feet to square off the last parallel space. And then option 3 was a variation of this one where we would have a bigger, we would have grass between the the dumpster pad and the light pole. And we'd have the 4 spaces on the other side, but that equated to about 65 square feet of more pavement closer to the drainage swale there. So I think, if I remember right, the commission entertained option 2 with the parallel, but didn't like the idea that we had to add a little bit of pavement. So that's pretty much the synopsis for those 2 options.
My one suggestion is reviewing the landscape plan.
Yep.
And possibly if we could, as a request for going for one of these options, it maybe beef it up a little bit more if they're able to add more native plantings or something in there within that buffer area on the edge of the slope.
I think we can take a look at what the wonderful architect had proposed, and
It was a lot.
yeah.
Was it already a lot?
It's a lot, I can take a look at it again, cause I think my office sent it over to me and I was kinda looking it over, but my only concern is that if we start choking out the buffer where we have too much.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what we can do to help ratify, I mean, beyond moving of paint, but the existing extra that's in there, what we can do to help ratify something else on that site.
You can only push things so far.
I know. I can hope though.
We can definitely take a look at it and see if there's things we can tweak
Trees
and
or something that can be planted that weren't there before.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, but I remember looking at it briefly just because it wasn't in my scope, and I was like, okay, but if you've looked at it more and it's a lot, we don't want to, if he's already proposed a lot, we don't want to add more because you just end up killing everything.
Yeah, so maybe it's a matter of switching out something for, more trees along that edge of the toe slope to try to shade the parking lot from
Even doing like
islands or type of thing, and then in regards to switching out a couple of trees, we're losing a few shrubs, but I prefer to have 2 or 3 large trees eventually grow up on that site than 12 shrubs.
what if we did, what if we switched out and did like a nice canopy tree, like a Cleveland pear or an Admiral, something that, honestly, it would help screen that spur in the back.
Yeah, I'm just thinking something maybe we can do to try to help with the extra pavement out there, try to help ratify the heat that's gonna come off of that with a tree or 2 or something.
Take a look at that.
I mean, honestly, aesthetically, I think that would be nice.
What kind of tree did you
It's
say?
like a Cleveland pear or an
Try
Admiral.
to have some native tree. If you want to do
Yeah.
dogwoods, make sure it's a native dogwood. 'Cause
Right.
there's a lot that aren't.
I know in other conservation meetings, like they have suggested Cleveland.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
is
and it just I know just some of the dogwoods end up being wetland trees anyway too, so like that might be helpful. But yeah, anything that you could think that could just help with that aspect of it, that might be helpful.
And I think it would help too, because looking at Nick had messaged me that some of the selections were
Very expensive.
yes, dear. No, they were expensive, but I mean, it's just there weren't even suitable replacements. Like we were looking at some of these. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
the first
Yeah.
round we went through, I pointed out that every single species that was put on there was non-native.
right. And like,
And
I'm
it was like,
looking
we
at-
need to change that.
Right, like we were talking to our supplier, and they're like, they sent us the catalog. Well, you find something. I'm like, you find something. I'm like,
So yeah, if we could do that in there,
Okay.
and try to offset some of the heat coming off this pavement,
Yeah.
and try to
Yeah.
shade it, I think that would be helpful.
What are your thoughts, Jess?
Yeah, I think these are all good suggestions. I probably would favor option one, also just not to kick the can down the road to future problems with eagles.
George?
Yeah, I don't see any difference between 1 and 3 from conservation point, so
1 and 4.
1 and 4.
Yeah.
And so whatever they want. As far as the stone wall goes, I have no problem with it. I mean, under the state regulations, stone walls are minor activities and allowed. So, and the stone wall would provide more habitat for small critters.
It actually would, you're correct, stone walls do create habitat.
Shelter. The hawk.
Stone piles,
How
stone
about
walls.
you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm, like I said, good with this one.
Yeah. I like the idea of not forcing people to drive in a certain way that may or may not always be open to them. And as far as the stone wall, I don't care that much. It's already there. It's gonna disturb things, getting them out, moving them.
As long as it doesn't impact any of the landscaping or anything that will go on that side of the
Plan
slope.
around it?
I'll make it look beautiful. No, I mean honestly too, it helps with in the event you have a 100-year flood, a massive runoff.
Yeah, I know, we look at that slope, like, yeah, it'd probably be helpful to have that rock.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, especially if you're gonna have mulch, and like you said, you have a heavy rain.
Yeah.
Just looking where it is and some of the plantings that you're talking about, maybe a middle ground, move some of them up
Yeah.
to where the bump
Yeah,
out
yeah,
is,
yeah.
and
I
then
mean,
keep
there's
some, and
Yeah,
then,
definitely would
yeah.
move some of them out and
Yeah.
move it around and yeah.
I think that's, we meet in the middle on that, and then incorporate them as hardscape features into.
Yeah, like I said, we'll
Site.
make it. Yeah, like I said, I'll make it look natural.
Yeah.
I happen to be.
This was my
good at
former
that.
site supervisor.
So I have it down in writing that you have promised to make it look beautiful.
Absolutely, and if it doesn't,
You're being recorded too, so.
It'll be
If-
looking awesome.
If it doesn't, you,
It's on YouTube and it's in.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's-
use as support.
yeah, yes,
It seemed like it was. I was just
yes.
curious.
It's kind of an eye opener to be there on a snowy day, because that could be, you're gonna have to keep on that one. It's in the winter time.
oh yeah.
Yes. Yep, definitely, and that was mentioned, we talked about that multiple times at planning board
Yeah.
as well, and it was like, yes, that will be upkept, because as soon as you fall behind, that site is
Well,
going
it's
to,
removal too.
yeah,
Sorry,
Oh, no, I know.
yeah.
Yeah,
And we,
that's what
and we did talk about that with the planning board, that there is gonna have to be times where there's snow removal, where the contractor will have to come in and, because you're only gonna be able to push so much
Right.
on the back of that site anyway. So it will have to be maintained just for the logistics.
Where's the snow being pushed to the back of the site?
So it was pretty much down,
Next to the dumpster pad.
That's the dumpster pad,
Yep.
which is now pavement.
yeah,
So
it-
where would you put it now? Because that was the furthest point away from the buffer, so anything else now would be closer.
You can put it to the lower left of the dumpster pad now.
so actually lower left between dumpster pad and the block wall.
Yeah, so what, over, like, oh dear, again, I hate this delay. Like over here? Or over
For
here?
a little further.
Right in there.
In here, okay.
Yep.
I was just saying, because yeah, anything else, unless it was untreated, can be pushed. As soon as you put
Yeah.
silver sand on it, you can't.
Well, then you could do conditions on treating materials too.
I don't know if we did on this,
As-
but we typically do.
Yeah, I
There's
believe,
no salt allowed, it has to be a
Or like a
non-
matte
think it was-
sodium.
salt or,
yeah, I believe both
Yeah.
Conscom and planning.
We've been favoring that.
Yep.
a bit lately.
And I
Non-salt.
do remember that in planning.
Yeah.
Because one of the, I believe the vice chair
It was Ken.
Ken.
was
Yeah.
very,
Yes.
and I'm like,
Yep.
whatever you want
Yeah. No.
regarding that, because that was also part of the stormwater permit, that
Mhm.
trying to make sure we did not do anything additional to the stormwater.
Very good.
Anything else? So we all agree that Plan 1.
We have to take a vote.
I would take a vote.
Take a vote.
Okay. Any more discussion before we move on? Okay, is there a motion to approve, it's just called Plan 1? Option 1 for 42 Park Street as a site change remediation, to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.
Just make sure before the work starts, I'll just come out and just double check the erosion control.
Yes, yeah, we already talked about that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I know that the fence has to get put back in a couple spots too.
Perfect.
How are things going with the setup?
Good. She, I don't know if you guys follow her on, if you guys have Facebook, but if you follow her Facebook page or her Instagram page, she posted like the reactions of her clients walking into the salon. So they love it. It was awesome.
So you're up and running.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's nice.
Up and running. My wife is actually one of the clients there, so she went this past weekend.
Yeah, last Saturday. Yeah.
Brought brownies for the girls, and she's like, "Oh my god!" So apparently, it's going really well. I haven't seen it since it was bare, so I'm gonna have to
You have to come
on the inside.
get your beard done.
Yes, I'll have Lily do it. Perfect.
Get your beard. I saw you switch from haircut.
She was thinking about it. So awesome. Thank you guys so much.
All righty.
No cookies?
It's not every time. You got lucky last time.
Yeah. If any of you guys need hair services, they're open.
All right.
Your
Lesson
mustache,
less.
Do you do that yourself, or do you have a stylist for your?
No, I do that. Yeah.
Oh.
It looks real good in the morning when I wake up too. Let me tell you.
Really?
Have a good
Have a good night.
Good night.
Back to my agenda.
All righty. Review and approve RFP for conservation restriction baseline documentation.
I apologize, I don't have copies of it for you. It wouldn't print for me today.
Wouldn't print?
It wouldn't print for me. I did get a comment from Martha replacing one of the words with applicant?
Yeah, like right at the very
Yeah.
beginning. I think, Jess, you had put in there, what was it? Firm
Firm
or,
or something.
was-
and-
firm or individual?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking
I
just,
was adjusting the language you borrowed from Stowe.
They borrowed from
yeah,
Stowe, yeah.
like change it just to say applicant.
Applicant, yeah, so I can make that change, and I just gotta change the dates on it, obviously.
That's
because
the
it's due to
only thing I
approval,
have.
Which is
Yeah.
why I had it highlighted, just remember to go through it and change the dates, just cause I might have to put a line in there that if the work's not, whatever's not completed by, it has to be done by the 30th, so I get a bill and get it done this fiscal year, so.
So like June 30th, right?
Yeah,
And then the
So-
only other thing was the qualifications. I think you had like 3 years
yeah,
within that last, or I can't find which email it was though. It was something about 3 years.
Mm-hmm. 3 years experience.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got it right here.
yeah,
Okay.
thank you, so I
Yeah, like
I
at the
apologize.
very end, there was some
My
bullets, right?
printer's acting up today, and we're getting a new one upstairs next week, next week, so I'll stay up all my problems.
Yeah, a statement affirming the number, this was also
Yeah.
redone from the Stowe version.
Yeah.
Statement affirming the number of years that the proposer applicant
Yeah.
Mhm.
has compiled baseline documentation materials along with a sample of a successfully completed BDR. A list
I
of
liked.
projects with similar scopes of work over the past 3 years should also be provided. Is that?
Is that where I'm picking up the 3 years? Where did it talk about the experience? Wasn't there something else, maybe up in the
Oh,
in the
instructions.
paragraphs about
That was
experience?
instructions, project scope. No, I think
Nope,
that was it.
That's it.
Was that it? Okay.
Yeah.
It was getting late. I could have been dozing, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good then.
So when are you gonna ask for submissions due by?
So if I get this out, not hopefully hopeful how tomorrow's gonna go, depending on how my son is when I get home. So we'll say we'll get it out Monday to at least try to get it to 3 different firms. Hopefully have it back by, it's not a big site and we have the CR. I'm gonna say 2 weeks in hopes I get it back, something back.
Do we have to vote on approving the contract?
Yes, so if we can get it back before the next meeting, so we can vote on the contract, with the caveat that maybe there'll be more going forward, so we don't have to send it out again.
Yeah.
Because I think I'll have more on that agent update on that. So I'll try to have them back so we can vote on it at the next meeting. If I can get it out by tomorrow, Monday, it should be fine.
To get back by, our next meeting is?
Our next meeting would be, it should be on here.
8th?
The 8th. It should be on the 8th, right?
Okay.
And then that way they should be able to get it done. It's only a 5-acre site. They should be able to get it done before the end and build us before the end of June.
Yeah.
One would hope. Fingers crossed. Try to use up some of the money in the budget. If not, I'm sure there's stuff in there for next year. Just remember that town meeting on Monday that we may need our budget.
So, I'm good with it.
And I do
Although I
have that
was
note
really-
to look for a proposer, firm, or individual and change it to applicant.
Yeah. I don't know, I think it's just more convoluted the other way. That's, I think that's a hill I wanna die on.
Oh, okay.
No, that's totally fine.
Anyone else
Okay.
have any thoughts? Yay or nay? Okay. Looks good.
Okay. Updates?
Updates.
All right, so, 135 Oak Ridge Drive, and right now the assessor's map's not working, so I have to explain it to you. The gentleman that has bought that house, I do have a mortgage plan you guys can pass around and look at. He would like to use the existing grade and how the site looks and just make it pretty. So, he already kind of got some permission from myself to take some trees down. Now he's looking at just fixing up the shoreline and doing some landscaping out there. I asked him today when he dropped it off to me if he would have to do any sort of, bring any fill in or do any grading. He said he wants to work with what's existing out there now. If any dirt's being brought in, it would really just be like topsoil in order to do the planting. Looking at fixing up the stairs, but he wouldn't be doing anything to change where the stairs are. They'll just be making them functional.
Is this a dock?
Yes, there's a dock on that property. This is on Oak Ridge, so it's on Flanagan Pond. If I can find it on here.
Fletcher's?
Flanagan, Fletcher's. I found one map that said Erickson's, so it's whatever
Really?
you want to call. Oh yeah, whatever you want to call it. So it's this site right here. So it already has all these steps and everything there on site. So he just wants to, and it has a retaining wall at the top. So he just wants to just do landscaping out there. He did go through and did some cleaning up. He said he pulled a whole trailer worth of junk out between tires and scrap metal along the shoreline. Yeah. Yep. So I was just wondering if we thought it would just be an RDA coming forward, since it's basically more or less just landscaping that he's doing there, or if we thought a full notice of intent would be required.
What's it look like now?
When I went out and saw it, it was winter time.
I mean, is it vegetated?
It's vegetated, it just needs to be cleaned up and made not. It was unmaintained vegetation, and he wants to make do plantings in there and make it look pretty.
So there's no.
There's gonna be no grading. There's gonna be no. If he said any fill had to be brought in, he said just more or less just be topsoil, whatever, to do, potting soil, whatever, to do the planting actually. And he doesn't want to do any major work. Use the existing grades that are out there and just plant and redo the stairs.
And the stairs are going from the retaining
Oh,
wall
down to the dock. Yep.
And this the stairs are in the picture, basically
Mm-hmm.
between the 100 and
In the
red
dock,
line?
yep,
Okay.
into the property line.
Is it a pretty dock?
You know, again, I saw it in the wintertime, I don't even know.
What do the stairs look like?
So he sent me a picture, and I mistakenly left it on, I have it on my work phone, and I mistakenly left it at home when I left the house. So I can forward, I can send it to you guys in an email tomorrow on what he's looking at doing there. It's basically, he found a picture on Pinterest, and was like, this is what I want to do. It's not gonna be exactly, it has to work with what he has out there, but it's more or less, I think, wooden stairs. Wooden stairs? Yeah, I think they were like deck type stairs going down. It wasn't even like concrete steps.
When we did,
You went stand.
my neighbors on
Yeah.
Mountain View, he
Yeah.
was redoing the stone
Mhm.
steps. We did that under an RDA,
Oh, you mean right at the end of
Mountain View.
Mountain?
With
Oh,
the
yeah,
stairs
yeah,
that Chris did.
Because there are existing stairs there, he's just fixing what's there. It's
Yeah.
not installing a new set of stairs.
yeah. He's
I
gonna,
think that would be minimal work, but I'm not.
he'll present to you a list of plantings that he's.
Yeah, he'll put all that in the RDA when it comes. I'll make sure all that is included in the RDA when he brings it in. Or if he needs help pecking plantings, I have those books in my office he can borrow for native plants, for shrubs and ground cover.
What's that? What's the number?
135 Oak Ridge.
Okay.
The gentleman just bought it over this past winter. He's been fixing it up. It has an existing walkout basement that he's refinished.
Is the landscaping that's in there, is it invasive?
I'm sure some of it is. I'm sure there's some non-native stuff in there. And again, it was. He says it's been all overgrown, and he just wants to make it look more manicured and landscaped, but have it planted and look nice.
And
So-
he would still have a sort of vegetated buffer.
He'll have a
between,
vegetated buffer because it'll all be vegetated. He's doing other planting, so
not grass.
planting within the buffer is a non-exempt project. It's just because it's the closest to the water, and I think with the staircase and stuff going in, we would do the RD, but you can do planting within the buffer as a non-exempt under the act.
Right, as long as they're native.
Yeah, I mean, it'll have to, yeah, but we will make that request that majority of them be native.
So
So
he
we
should bring a
can
list of
review
what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He can review everything.
Yeah,
look
we
at
can
the
ask,
RDA.
him, give us a list as part of the RDA. When I email him with that, let him know if he can just give us a list of some of the plants he's thinking of putting there. And if he needs help picking some native ones, I can give him some.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really seem like an NOI worthy.
Okay, I always just like to ask because I just want to make sure. So I will email him that tomorrow. I went out to the substation at National Grid today. They
Going tomorrow.
Yeah, well, there you go. They are doing. They are going to need to do dewatering in order to put the expansion in the new fence line. And as part of the special order conditions, a prior written approval by the commission is needed for dewatering. So I went out to the site to see where the dewatering location will be, where the hoses are going to go, and the sandbags that will be in the wetland, because obviously they're filling the wetland, for that project. So I went out and saw that. So now it's a matter of, because it does state in the special conditions that it's written approval from the commission, not the agent. So I don't know if we need to do, I don't know if you've done this before, if we need to do some sort of vote to allow it, or if I can just write a letter on your behalf and then use your signature stamp for it to say it's fine. Like I said, I did go and looked at it. They're not gonna start until sometime next week on it. They said it will probably be a few weeks of pumping in order to get it out so we can put the roadway in and then be done on that. So it'll be for a couple weeks that they'll be doing dewatering.
So you went out and looked at it, you're good
I
with
did,
it?
yep, the dewatering location is outside the buffer zone. They do have erosion controls installed. The generator will be electric, it'll be in the substation itself. Yeah, I said all the erosion controls are in, so. And I did tell them once we get the approvals, that once they start the dewatering, that I will wanna go out and look at it, just to see it working, making sure everything is fine.
I'm okay with you doing it. Just
Okay.
having it.
Okay. Okay. Let's see what else is going on. What?
I'm sorry, did National Grid send you something in writing though?
Request for it in writing? They sent me an email, yes.
Okay, all right,
I might have a letter.
okay.
I might have a PDF with everything they're doing on it. I can forward that off to you guys.
No, I'm just the whole idea of a written approval
Yeah.
should be based off of.
Yeah, they did send me
An
something.
actual
Yeah, they did send me
request.
something in writing. I don't know exactly what I did.
Okay.
I did get it. I did get a PDF from them.
Okay.
So I know something in writing that I'll print off and put in the file. Robert, myself, and Faith Saunter from North County Land Trust had a meeting this week to discuss the conservation restrictions monitoring and everything. Yes, so that went well. I did update our conservation restrictions list of items that need to be done. And sent that off to Faith. She was going to discuss with her group to see what their capabilities might be. I stated since Shaker Mill Pond is now, basically as far as I know, before the state for final approval and then be recorded, that monitoring on that, since the baseline was done over a year ago, that monitoring can start once we figure everything out as far as the contract with that goes. And then,
So we're just looking at North County to do the monitoring?
no, we're waiting to see. I sent her the list of everything we have. So I said if they have the capability to do baseline reports, I have project
Okay.
baselines.
Yeah.
But if not, with the RP that we're doing for Curly Circle, we could possibly extend that to some of the other options, and they'll be looking at just doing our monitoring. We also have several that do not have CRs on property, if that's something, the work that they can do. In digging and researching some of these, some of them are required to have CRs, but from the way that I read how it was taken to the town, they are actually owned by the Conservation Commission, so we cannot hold the CR. It would have to be a separate entity, and one of those include Pine Meadow and the Tucker property. So we can't hold the CRs because we're the owner of the property.
Right.
So that would be something where then we'd have, see if they would be the ones that would hold the CR for us. And then since they're holding the CR, they would still do the monitoring on that as well. So, so she's gonna look through that list that I prepare and talk with her group to see what it all is possible that they could do for us. And we'll reconvene on that one, so. More to come on CRs, we're working hard. I did email too again, Rohit on his one for Air Solar 2, and forwarded the draft I did have, along with the draft I had for Panther Place, to the town manager's office to forward to town council to review, because from the draft I have seemed like it was reviewed from the state and their council, it was just for ours to do, so that way if anything were to come back, I know that all the parties have reviewed it once, and then we're just waiting for the state to, or whoever, to verify it from there, so. More to come on CRs. Every 8
And
months
you-
or so we revisit it.
Faith Salter is now part of, she works
she-
for North County.
She's now the executive director of North County Land
She's
Trust.
the executive director.
Yeah.
So chances are good something's gonna,
Chances are
Get
good that
done.
we can hopefully get at least something done. Like I said, once we get the baseline done for Curly Circle, that one will just need to be monitored. Shaker Mill Pond will just need to be monitored. I think we have one other one that's all in place that just needs to be monitored. As far as the rules and regulations go, as far as these, I'm not 100% sure on them, because we do have some that have baselines that may or may not be able to be used for then due to monitoring. So I have that information in that list that I sent her, that baseline was done in 2016 or in 2007. Like, does it need to be redone? Can we just monitor from that, and verifying those? So we have 4 or 5 that we more or less, once we figure that aspect out of it, that we could just start monitoring on and start checking some off the list.
Kohler Place?
Kohler Place is one of them, yep.
Is that all finalized?
I believe so. I
'Cause
believe
there
that
was
was
some snafu before with getting a signature or whatever.
No, that
That's
I
good,
have the
okay.
CR all done.
Yeah.
I think I have it in my first list that I did, that I had the baseline all done.
Yeah.
it just, whether or not it was recorded or not.
Yeah,
So I think it's just verifying if that's something that has to be recorded,
yeah,
or if it should be revisited
yeah,
before we start the monitoring part, and that's what the questions I have on a couple of them.
yeah.
That I have found a baseline, but whether, if it needs to be recorded to be official, or if we should be redoing them and then
Yeah.
move from there. So I have a couple of those. That one, Fuller Place, I think Orion Park is one of them, and there's another one that we're just minor little things like that. So hopefully we
Yeah.
can check some of them off the list. Hopefully.
Is Anna Wilkins, is it Wilkins?
Yes.
She's still part of it?
She's just, yes, she's still part of that. Emily, I think somebody, Emily something, she's still part of it, but yeah, Faith is now, as a resident, we can hopefully get her to
Yeah.
get some more active on some.
We have a little.
We have a little, and she's on my sustainability committee, so.
That's good.
Yep.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, so
Wow.
hopefully that works out well. Hopefully I can give you guys another update on that in a couple of months. And we'll see how we go, because that money is still there for, Robert said that there's, that 10,000 for that contract is still available, that we can do that moving forward, so there's no issue with that. I said the Sustainability Committee was appointed by the Select Board at their last meeting, along with you have 3 town residents that are on there, along with members of the existing town departments. Also at that meeting, a ban on second-generation rodenticides was passed, policy for all town property.
Second generation, I'm sorry.
Rodenticides, the antimicrobial rodenticides, the scars. So there's a now town policy signed by the select board at their last meeting that they cannot be used on town property. So they'll be removing all those from the DPW, from the transfer station, the, wherever else they use, the fire station, police, wherever, those are no longer allowed on town property.
Okay.
That's a major win on that one.
That's a good stuff right there.
Yeah, so it's a small step. We'll get going and hopefully try to expand it to town-wide, but we have it on town property. And there's still a bill before the state on that as well that hasn't moved anywhere.
For a few years.
Yeah. Town meeting is Monday?
Yeah.
It would go for town meeting. We do have the one warrant article for our pond treatment. The
A massive amount of money.
massive amount of money, is at 20,000. The planting days for the pocket forest are May 3rd and May 10th. Forgive me if I can't remember the days, the times, but it is on the flyers. It's on the town website. Like I said, they're going to pass out flyers to various businesses in town.
Are they actually planting on both days, or is it like prepping the
Planting
first
on
week
both
and-
days.
Okay.
Yep, planting on both. Whether we need to plant on both days, or one day we're planting and one day we're doing some maintenance. If it's both days are going to be at the Sandy Pond School. If we have to at one point move from Sandy Pond School to the high school, we'll do that. But for right now, they're both at Sandy Pond School, the 10th and 3rd.
And then there'll be other days for the high school.
I believe their hope is to have the high school plant it themselves during some of their volunteer hours that the school requires that all seniors do, that we can do it that way and during school hours.
Are they gonna drop off barrels for watering things?
At the school, at the high school, they're gonna have a spigot from the high school itself, I believe, with a meter on it for, device for self-watering. Timer on that. I don't remember what they're doing at the Sandy Pond School, if they have water in their building, if they're gonna do the same thing with the spigot outside of that building, or if we're gonna get a meter off of one of the hydrants. I don't know what the plan is for watering there. Yeah, I gotta get the rain barrels out from over there.
No, I mean like they should literally
Yeah,
connect it
they
right
should.
on the
Yeah.
little school there.
I don't know if I
That'd
don't
be
know if I
awesome.
ever asked the question.
Yeah.
Ever watering those, but I'm sure they have a plan for that. I'm just sharing the planting days. We get to plant all different kinds of shrubs and plants and flowers and whatever, trees.
Suck the water out of the brook.
Yeah.
Just like we had people.
And then next Thursday, I will be going to what's it called? Mainstreaming Nature-Based Solutions e-conference done by Mass Econ.
Say that again.
Did you say illusions?
Mainstreaming nature-based solutions Yep, it's a mass ECAN conference.
Mass what?
ECAN?
ECAN?
ECAN, yeah. I'm
Spell
sure.
that?
ECAN. I'm sure it stands for something.
Is that online or are you going physically?
It's physically at Clark University.
Physically? Okay.
Physically, yep. So that'll be fun. And on May 16th, the National River Watershed Association, the council is holding a invasive management workshop that Friday. And you and I were invited. I accepted it on your behalf.
Thank you.
You're
Invited
welcome.
to a, say it again.
An invasive management workshop
And where is that?
at the National River Watershed Association on 119 in Groton,
Mm-hmm.
What day?
May 16th.
May 16th. H and John.
Could you send me a reminder email
Mm-hmm. I sure will.
multiple times?
Yeah, if you for some reason you can't make it, I will be there, and I will learn all about invasive species management. Oh, speaking of that, the gentleman that lives at 42 Cambridge Street, I went there today. He needs to have trees taken down due to his insurance company telling him that they are hazardous, and he has to. And so he does want to replant. I'm going to give him some of my books to look at when he's ready for that. He does have knotweed on his property. He was telling me he was spraying it, and I said, well, if you want to replant, I would stop spraying it because those pesticides will stay, the herbicides will stay in the ground and you won't be able to replant. So he is stopping that aspect of it and going to hand pull it. And the tree company will leave stumps there to keep because it's a rocky, slopey section between two houses, so to try to help keep the soil maintained and for us to have a trunk for bugs and birds, they will leave trunks there. But there's about 4 trees that gotta come out. But it's just a intermittent stream that runs all the way up from Norwood Ave down all the way down here to Central Ave, that stream there. So it's that stream that ends up being his house, that part of the house about 75 feet away from him. That's it.
Is that it for your updates?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
Couple.
Please.
One, is anybody doing anything on the water chestnuts this year?
I don't know. We do have Pace. So if you do email them, they do have a thing. I don't know if they have any plans for water chestnuts this year, because I don't know if they're just in a maintenance mode right now. I will have to check on that for you.
Is Lori's?
Lori has stepped down. A woman named by Christine Goulet. She's the one I've been talking to in regards to Pace. She's not the one. She's on the sustainability committee. I can reach out to her in regards to anything going on with the water chestnuts this year.
That was an amazing success story.
It was. I mean, I think more so than they ever imagined having it be 2 years in and going, oh wow, it's gone. Yeah. So it's amazing what you can do. I'm not going to get there with the knotweed, but you know, we try. We try.
And then I went to the planning board meeting on Tuesday where they were discussing
Oh yes.
Lincoln
Hills.
Lincoln Hills.
I do have to
Up there.
send comments to the second
Yeah.
round of comments.
So they were talking about the open space, and I guess they have to have. They reached out to town council about the narrow strip, which I guess they counted as part of the open space.
It's a right of way.
But it's a driveway right of way for the landlocked property, and you know, I think a lot of people think that shouldn't have been counted as part of the open space percentage.
It's a tricky situation
Yeah.
in regards to what is open space. I have, just for giggles since that meeting, been trying to find a definition of open space.
Oh,
there is not.
There is.
Not on the state.
It's not that
I
tricky.
checked the
Just
Open Space Act regulations. There's not an open space. I checked Article 97. There's.
But there's a different article.
Chapter 3, Mass General Law, Chapter 3, Section where.
something in there that says open space residential development, a residential development in which this is from the state MGL.
That is, so is that the, OSRD
OSRD.
draft bylaw?
No, it's MGL. And the definitions.
All right, I will pull that one up then, because
Yeah.
this is all I'm
And,
sharing with Danny, because this is part of their part, this isn't.
Yeah, so this
So
is.
this is the OSRD part of the state?
Yeah, it's in their definitions section.
Okay.
And,
Cause
and
I
it does
searched and
say-
searched and searched, I did find something in
Yeah.
our open space and recreation plan.
Yeah, but this is in, and I did, this doesn't have my, I'll get you the site in a second.
Okay, yeah, if you just wanna give me
But-
the MGL one,
But it
I'll
does
look it up.
say, open land may be situated to protect, no, don't worry about that. The open land shall either be conveyed to the city or town and accepted by said city or
Yeah.
town for park or open space use, or be made subject to a recorded use restriction enforceable by said city or town,
Yeah.
or nonprofit, organization, the principal purpose of which is the conservation of open space, providing that such land shall be kept in an open or natural state and not be built for residential use or developed for accessory uses
Oh, okay.
such as parking or roadway. So,
Well, and again, in that aspect of it, they can't pass a definition that says that, cause they allowed it for Stratton Hill.
yeah, well, I'll have to figure it out, but, anyway, where is it? Section 1A of Chapter 40A.
Chapter what?
Chapter 40A, Mass General,
Oh.
Chapter 40A, Section 1A, definitions.
Yeah, so yeah, chapter 48 subdivision control.
But,
Okay.
but on zoning board, we always operate in the premise of what a decision on one thing is not a guarantee of the same decision.
Yes, no, I understand that, but I'll look that up. Thank
And
you.
I reiterated, so they are planning the easement for water sewer.
Mhm.
And there's a debate about how much land disturbance. The engineer seems to think it'd be minimal land disturbance, but they have to go down quite deep and probably do blasting with the ledge there to get the depth. Anyway, there's debate about whether that should be count as the open space, because it's very disturbed.
Yeah, and I would say the positive thing is board members feel that same way.
Yeah, and I'm for aspects of this development. We do need more housing and more varied housing. But my point, and I had to speak as a resident, not as a member of the commission, was that my point is basically what was the intent of open space when residents voted on the open space residential bylaw? Was it to be, because the intent of the bylaw, as states at the beginning, partly the preservation of habitat, and if they're going to be, disturbing and then, that to me is against the intent. So I hope they.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have the second second revision to the plans are on the website.
Yeah.
I still have the concern, which was brought up, I think, by Ken, of the narrow strip of open space between the lots on Central Ave and this one, which was in my comments the first time. And the only thing part of the address it was it's not a T, so it's not snow could be pushed there. It's just all houses. It's still going to be a concern.
Yeah.
But.
Yes, I'm still gonna go to those. And then somebody reminded me that our commission did issue an order of conditions back in 2011 when this was Emily's Way. That we did have some jurisdictional issues.
I'll have to pull for the old ones. Do you have the DEP number?
Yeah, it is. So I was looking at the minutes today. 100-0345.
Okay.
But what I think is the issue is at the time there was concern about stormwater going across Groton Harvard Road to 3335 Groton Harvard Road, which Marianne DePinto, who used to be Mass DEP, did say that was jurisdictional wetland. But that was when Emily's Way was all building on the hairball time. That was when Emily's Way was all building on the side close to Groton Harvard
Road and not up on.
And this now it's
a high
way
street.
up. So we
Okay.
did issue one, it was largely based on stormwater.
Okay. Well, I'll still pull it out and see
Yeah.
what it says.
And, I don't know if you can,
And if it's still open, I'll reach out to the fields
Oh,
and have them close it.
yeah.
'Cause those pesky things just hang out.
And so you can look at, I just circled, took a picture of this.
Oh, you don't, those meeting minutes?
Yeah.
Oh,
So instead of looking
oh,
for them.
well, I mean, I can look. I tried to find meeting minutes from 2009 to figure out
Yeah.
how we voted on something for a CR and they didn't exist
So if you
that
can-
whole year.
If you can read my handwriting, just look for the circle
Mm-hmm.
dates.
Okay.
There's some in 2010 when we did a,
And that's gonna be, what are these years?
these are all 2011.
Okay.
2011 and
That's what I
then
thought. That's what I thought. Just
And
10,
that-
11, 11, 11. Got it.
10, 11. Okay.
Got it. Thank you. I will do that.
Okay. And that's it for me.
Okay.
Were you on the commission in 2011?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He's been here longer than me.
Forever?
pretty much.
Pretty much.
And you'll find that the minutes detailing those are actually fairly detailed because we had a great clerk. I mean, you can follow what was discussed.
Yeah, no, that's what I try to do when I do minutes too.
Even though I didn't remember it.
Okay.
Anyway,
You wrote it down. That's-
Thank you. I will look that stuff up and I appreciate that.
yeah.
Anyone
Okay.
else have any updates?
Just a couple things. Actually came up just because we're having a discussion. So going back to the rocks we were just talking about. We've always had boulders placed where we say no disturbance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should we have them take those and move those basically at the back edge of the whole parking lot essentially? Should we just do that?
I mean, at the Toa slope, have the rocks put there.
Yeah, because they were gonna be putting signs up, I thought.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they were. I think they were going
Kind
to.
of the same
Yeah.
thing, you know, kind of.
Yeah.
Blocking off, I mean, that way they're not moving them tremendous distance.
Yeah. I mean, we can do that if that's something you'd want to see.
Well, I'm just, I don't know, what does everybody else think?
It's a good barrier.
So I think having them there is a good barrier for any sort of washout.
There's some of them there. Yeah. See what Mr. McDuff sees. He seems to have a good sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's well. Yeah.
And then going back to the waiver
Mm-hmm.
for Aho, just as you mentioned, planning board or something said not precedent setting, can we make sure that that is put in our waiver somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
That this by no means means that other people can start asking for waivers.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, I think, a good thing to state in there somehow.
Yeah, and then speaking of that, when we were out on site, I don't know if you're done, I apologize. There was concern that, 50 feet looks a lot closer than we
Yeah.
imagined. If you wished, I do know the town of Acton does have a staged buffer where it's so I think they might have a 50-foot no disturb, and then from 50 to 75, it's basically no structures, and then it goes that way. If that's something you want me to try to research and draft up to maybe alter our regulations, we can start discussing that maybe at the next meeting.
Yeah. I mean, we'd have to hold a public hearing. Right?
Yeah, well, we can start looking at them just to get an
Yeah.
idea of what it might look like, and then we obviously hold the public hearing, but we can start looking at what we might like to see. I can get a couple options together. Because I don't think we have any, as it stands right now, we don't have anything on the next agenda, so we can discuss that.
Yeah, our goal with that bylaw was, one, to get the ability to write regulations,
Yes.
and two, to start some no disturb, so,
Mm-hmm.
and see what we could get
So
through.
we can do that, and we can look at the waiver
Yeah.
section of it as well, and if that states in there that we change that waiver section to state that we do not grant a waiver for whatever, we can look at that as well.
And then lastly,
Mhm.
right behind the post office parking lot, going on to 3 Central, 30, whatever that central property is, looks like there's some stuff that was cleared.
Does it?
Yeah.
Is that his
Stuff
property?
that died off. I don't know.
I don't
Okay,
think
go
it's
look.
his, but yeah,
Well, that's what I'm not sure.
that lot.
Yeah, go look.
Walked over there.
Yeah.
I passed by and like, it looks much clearer than I
Clearer,
remember.
yeah, that's a tricky one. Yeah, I'll go look.
You're getting nice weather to go out and look at things.
I am. I still have, I don't know if I get time tomorrow too. I'm gonna go out to Pine Meadow, look at 91 Groton Harvard again.
Speaking of nice weather, so the last thing, did they put up the Grove Pond sign near the rain garden sign at the, in Peroni Park? We had one other Pine Grove sign that we put together, blue signs.
I have an extra. Do I have the extra? I have an extra sign still.
Oh,
Does one need to go there?
That's the Grove Pond one, that's supposed to go up there right by where they put the new kitty place in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We held on to it because they were gonna be doing all the construction.
Oh, is that why I have the extra sign?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
have it. So we
There
can
was-
put that sign out.
No point in giving it to the contractors, it would be long gone.
Lost, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we were waiting
All
on
right.
that. But
So
yeah.
we'll figure out how to get that installed. I can do that. Okay. Yeah, I was like, oh, every time I would just take it with me places when we had like events. And you're like, where's Grove Pond? I go, Peroni Park. They go, what's Peroni Park? I'm like, you live here?
Well, if you need one to take around, I can get you a misspelled Flanagan.
Oh, and the new one looks good, John.
Yeah, I drove by with Jess. I stopped right in front of the sign. I go, check it out. She goes, what?
I have superb powers of observation.
All right. Yeah. So I'll talk to Sarah and possibly DPW to see if we need someone to try to install. Like I have the post in my office. I might even have bolts too somewhere in a bag. I know I moved and I know I kept it down the bookshelf. So yeah, I should have all of it. So yes, I do. Yeah, I do have that big thing. So we'll go out and look at see where we want to put it over there by the new play area. Right? Is that where you wanted to have it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be there, I think.
That
like I said,
nature-based
kinda right
playground
near the
area
rain
over there?
garden
Yeah.
area,
Yeah.
Just the left of it, the sign, the rain garden sign or whatever.
But the rain garden is over by the boat launch. No, the rain. No, that's a, no.
Did it get moved?
No,
There was
rain.
one-
Right over there by the park.
It was right
Parking
at
lot.
the back of the parking lot.
Yeah.
At the end of the parking lot.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I'll go over there and take a peek at it next week or so, and
If
figure that
DPW
out.
can put it up, that'd be great.
Yep. If not, I got
If they want us
everything.
to
in.
do it, then just let me know, because obviously we gotta come dig safe and everything, so.
Yep, get a crew out there. It'll take about 5 swings and I'm done.
Look at Jen out there with her new shoulder.
That's right.
Yeah, I could take 5 swings as well and be done.
On a swing?
Me would be done. Jen and I would be nursing shoulders.
Yeah. Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Passes unanimously.